Welcome in the Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Siepman. Talking to you guys on an Overreaction Monday. The Vikings did end up beating the Saints yesterday with a final score of 28-25. It was a wild game, but we do have some injury news regarding Lewis Cine and that pretty gruesome injury he had on his ankle. We got an update on that situation. We're talking a little Marcus Peters trade following the blow-up he had following the Ravens-Bills game. And then also, like I said, my overreactions following the Vikings' victory against the New Orleans Saints. But as you see, Lewis Cine, we got some bad news, but I do have some good news with it. He did end up staying in London and not traveling back with the team and ended up getting surgery on his ankle. It's a pretty gruesome video if you've seen it. The top of his ankle touches the turf as he's running backwards. It is pretty horrific, and it was just kind of unfortunate considering Lewis Cine has not had a lot of reps so far this season. So I kind of feel bad for just the player and the person he is that he did end up going down. But good news. It's just a clean fracture. Kevin O'Connell earlier today said there's no ligament damage, no ligaments torn. So it's just going to be a clean fracture, and now he can focus on his rehab and recovery. But before I get into my overreactions, we're closing in on 6,000 subs, and more specifically, 5.9 thousand. We're only 19 subscribers away, not 19,000. 19 subs away from 5,900. I would love to hit it on this video. We've been growing like crazy the past couple videos, gaining subs left and right, getting wins like the Minnesota Vikings left and right. Go down, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep growing this channel. Let's keep getting the momentum going into throughout this rest of this Vikings season. Now, my first overreaction, I had to talk about it. Does Jefferson own Marshon Lattimore? Yes, he does. That's accurate. Jefferson dominated yesterday. He was fantastic, and especially coming off his two previous games where he really struggled to get open just because of the bracket double teams, and there was a lot going into it. But Jefferson yesterday, 10 receptions, 147 yards, 14.7 yards per catch. He also had that sweet rushing touchdown when Kevin O'Connell dialed him up. A super nice play on that jet sweep where Kirk Cousins just went right behind his back, and Jefferson pretty much had a walk-in touchdown. Could be the easiest of his career. But Alec Lewis, he did a great job for PFF breaking down how good Jefferson actually was against Lattimore yesterday. He had 7 catches for 93 yards. And this was the first time dating back to the beginning of 2021, no receiver has caught more than 3 passes in a game against Marshon Lattimore. Jefferson caught 7 for 93. Listen, Marshon Lattimore, he's a true lockdown corner in the NFL. I don't really think we have a lot of them anymore in the league, but I do consider Lattimore, especially with what he's been able to do to Mike Evans over the past couple of years, he is a true lockdown. But Jettas, he got the best of him yesterday. And the biggest play from that victory was that 40-yard go route in the 2-minute drive or the 2-minute drill for Kirk Cousins leading up to the game-winning field goal, dropped it right in over his head. And listen, it was just one-on-one. Let's run with each other. Jefferson outran him, and Kirk delivered him a beautiful football. Now, right into my second overreaction. Kirk Cousins clutch? I never thought I would be able to throw those two words next to each other. Kirk Cousins clutch, as I have producer Petey in my ear saying no, he is not. But I don't know. Maybe. I think he could be. You know, last year Kirk Cousins was one of the more clutch quarterbacks in the NFL. But back-to-back games, back-to-back game-winning drives. Shout out to Kirk. But I kind of want to do more of a deep dive into this. So we're going to look at his fourth quarter stats so far this year. Kirk Cousins in the fourth quarter this year, nothing that's going to blow your mind away. 59.57 completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 pick with 344 yards total. But past 2 games, Kirk Cousins, back-to-back game-winning drives. Where honestly, his defense did not necessarily let him down, but the defense let the other team back in the game, giving up back-to-back touchdowns late in the game. And Kirk Cousins, what did he do? He responded, back-to-back game-winning drives. And, hey, last season, he had 4 game-winning drives. He should have had about 6 or 7 if it wasn't for Mike Zimmer's awful defense at the end of halves, at the end of games. Kirk Cousins, I'm serious. Go look it up. He should have had 6 or 7 last year. And overall this year, Kirk's been pretty solid. 63% completion percentage. You know he's always going to be up there, fairly accurate quarterback. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I'll tell you what, I am a little shocked Kirk has 4 picks, but I do like him being more aggressive in this Kevin O'Connell offense with over 1,000 yards. But now I want to hear from you guys. This will be the pinned comment on today's video because I think, you know, Vikings fans, I feel like we feel different ways about our quarterback, especially about Kirk Cousins. Do you think Kirk Cousins is clutch. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I said I'll make this the pinned comment. I'll be responding to all of you guys down below. Get down in the comments and share with me your thoughts. Now I'd like to give a shout out to today's sponsor and our proud sportsbook sponsor here at Chat Sports, BetUS. If you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125, you'll get a 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? You put $100 into your account, you can get $125 just to play with. You could go bet on whatever. You could go bet on maybe the Twins winning their next regular season baseball game because they're most likely out of the playoff picture right now. Or you can go bet on the Vikings next week against the Bears. They got it all covered. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125. Now, final overreaction on today's video. NFC North champs? Are the Vikings setting themselves up to be the champions and defend the North? I hope so, as to quote Kodak Black. If you guys know, you know. But I do think the Vikings, they've really set themselves up right now to be playing for that NFC North championship position. But we got to look at the standings right now. The Packers, they've snuck off 3 in a row after us beating them. The Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, I honestly don't think either of them have a chance. I'm sure you guys both agree. This is going to be a 2-team race coming down the stretch. But if we look at the Vikings' upcoming schedule, I think this is incredibly important. You look at the Vikings' schedule. Their next 2 games coming up. The Bears and the Dolphins. The Bears and the Dolphins, if this is, I understand with the Tua Tagovailoa injury, we really don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for that game, but I can assume it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater considering how gruesome that injury looked during the Dolphins game this past Thursday night. I consider the Bears, you're going to be 7 to 8 point favorites in that game. You got to get that done. Put you at 4-1. And then the Dolphins. I'm not saying you got to go win that game to get the 5-1. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but if they're playing Teddy Bridgewater, I expect the Vikings to go to Miami and come out with a victory. So you're sitting at 5-1. And the reason I think the Dolphins game has so much emphasis on it, where, going into the year, I wouldn't consider it a must-win or a big-time win for the Vikings. Because if you look at the Packers' upcoming schedule, I swear, these guys, they go the New York teams back-to-back weeks. It's the Giants in London, where they're favored by 7 already. And then it's the Jets and then the Commanders. Like I said right now, the Packers are 3-1. But I'm looking at their schedule right now. I'd probably say they are going to be 6-1. Then they got that big-time game against the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be a tough battle. But Vikings are off to a good start, beating the Packers in week 1. I think that, obviously beating your division rival, the team you're going to be playing against for the NFC North title, beating them week 1 was huge. We're off to a good start, but it's going to be a battle. The Packers have a pretty favorable schedule like I just showed you. It's going to be tough, but I do think the Vikings have a good chance. But what do you say? Do you think the Vikings are going to defend the North this year and retake the NFC North title from the Green Bay Packers? If you do, just hit the like on this video. Let's run it up to 100, 200 likes. Show some support for the Minnesota Vikings and them winning this NFC North battle. But now, let's get into kind of a little icing on the cake for today's video. Should the Vikings trade for Marcus Peters? Bleacher Report put out an article about a week ago connecting Peters to the Minnesota Vikings. And if you're looking at this Vikings depth chart, listen, the cornerback position, it's played better the past couple of weeks. I think Dantzler's really kind of taken another step forward, but it's really nothing to write home about with this group. This is still my red flag. This is still my biggest concern on this entire Vikings roster. And the reason I'm bringing up the Marcus Peters stuff, did you guys see what happened yesterday? Looking at this was at the end of the Ravens game, and we know Peters has a hothead, short-tempered type of guy, plays with that kind of swagger on the field, but he was furious after the Ravens lost yesterday. He was furious that the Ravens kicked the field goal at the end of the game instead of going for it. He was furious with their coverage calls on the last game-winning drive against the Bills and against Josh Allen. So I'm saying if Marcus Peters is unhappy in Baltimore and the Vikings need another veteran corner with some fire, with some energy to bring to this corner room, Marcus Peters wouldn't be a bad option. But what do you say? What say you? Do you want the Vikings to trade for Marcus Peters? I think this is a pretty interesting debate, mainly because, he is a guy that, he has a short temper. He's sort of a hothead. But I would want to bring him in to bring some energy, to bring some life into this defense. So what do you guys say? Get down in the comments. Let me know. Then you can also follow me on Twitter right here at Pat Siepman NFL. I'll be tweeting about the Vikings all year long. Vikings are 3-1. Feels good to wake up on a victory Monday. See you guys later. Skol Vikes.